Looking for the best Radeon RX 7800 XT graphics card? The RX 7800 XT is the perfect GPU for gaming at 1440p with maxed out settings, and in this video I have the 3 best variants to choose from. All of these cards offer exceptional value, but there is still room for preference based on what each card offers as a total package. Current prices and all GPUs mentioned in the video are available in the description. So let's get started. Number 3. Yeston Sakura Radeon RX 7800 XT. Gaming isn't just a hobby for PC gamers, it's part of their lifestyle, and as such, their PC represents an overall part of their identity. So, if you're looking for one of the best performing graphics cards for high refresh rate 1440p gaming, that also has a unique look, then the Yeston Sakura RX 7800 XT stands out as one of the best options. It is a fairly large and long card that will eat up 3 PCIe slots, and would need 329mm or 13 inches of clearance, and it all seems to be on purpose. The large size is going to surely draw a lot of attention towards itself, and also cool the GPU with minimal effort. The overall attention to detail is immaculate no matter where you look. The front of the card is studded with 3 large fans that look like the leaves of the sakura, aka cherry blossom, flower. They're covered with a large angular grille that increases the overall rigidity of the card and adds even more to the overall aesthetic. When turned on, the front of the GPU has a glowing RGB LED light strip that can be better suited to your PC's overall look and feel. Even the backplate is treated like a piece of art, and the attention to detail shows. Since backplates are mostly blank slabs, Yeston painted it with a cherry blossom tree and a lady in a white and blue dress. The pass-through cutout is also shaped like the 5 leaves of a sakura flower, which neatly wraps up the overall aesthetic. Now, a graphics card's job isn't to simply be pretty to look at. It needs to cool the internals well so that they can perform well. I'm happy to report that the card stays cool between 60 to 70 degrees Celsius under a stressful load, but it does rev up the fans a bit that end up being slightly more audible than most cards at around 37 decibels. Once inside a case, however, the card is barely audible, so it isn't an issue, but it would definitely have been great if the fans were much quieter. Performance-wise, the RX 7800 XT is a gaming champ with a massive 16GB of VRAM capacity that puts the competition to shame. All of Nvidia's alternatives have just 12GB of VRAM, namely the RTX 5070, RTX 4070, 4070 Super, and 4070 Ti, which limits them to just 1440p. Thanks to the larger memory pool, the 7800 XT can play games at more than just 1440p. The ideal resolution is obviously going to be 1440p, but if you do want to dabble a bit in 4K, the 7800 XT has got the power to do that. Some games may require a bit of upscaling to run at a locked 60 FPS at 4K, even if they perform exceptionally well at 1440p. The prime example of this is Hogwarts Legacy. It runs at over 90 FPS at 1440p with high-quality settings, but only at around 50 FPS at 4K. Putting performance aside, the main reason why the Yeston Sakura stands out to me is because it offers a balance in terms of thermals, noise, and on top of all that, a bold design. There are other cards that do put in the effort to make the card look as good as possible, but they look quite derivative. What I mean is that the Asus TUF has just a black and white variant, and for every Sapphire Nitro, there is the Sapphire Pure. They don't offer anything special in regards to design, so if you really want your PC to stand out, then the Yeston Sakura makes a lot of sense. Yes, there are cards like the Nitro Plus from Sapphire and the XFX Quicksilver that offer better thermals, but if you're willing to accept a slightly warmer card with a gorgeous look, then there do not seem to be many options. Hopefully, with the Sakura RX 7800 XT, things change and more manufacturers design their cards with more boldness and expression. For now, only Yeston is putting forward immense creativity with their design. In conclusion, even though the Yeston RX 7800 XT Sakura is priced above a typical 7800 XT, it's more than just a graphics card. It hopes to revive the playful nature of well-designed hardware that people will hopefully hold on to longer as a piece of art rather than a blob to be quickly discarded. Number 2. XFX Quicksilver AMD Radeon RX 7800 XT. White PC builds are increasing in their popularity, but white components are still severely outnumbered by their black or gray counterparts by a substantial margin. So if you're looking for a graphics card that performs well at 1440p, but also suits a more vibrant PC perfectly, then you should definitely consider the XFX Quicksilver RX 7800 XT. This card is certainly a looker. The design feels new and fresh, yet familiar and reliable at the same time. It is a really long card that measures 337mm or 13.3 inches, and it takes up 3 whole PCIe slots. Since it's going to hang on a lot, XFX included an anti-sag unit to support the card, and it's definitely going to need it. At the back, you'll find a thick metal backplate protecting the PCB with a striped grille design that blends into the fan shroud. Speaking of fans, the highlight of the Quicksilver's design is the pop-out fans that are held to the shroud magnetically and can be removed very easily, making replacements and cleaning dust buildup a breeze. And these fans really put in the work by keeping the temps low. The GPU almost never goes above 60 degrees Celsius. In fact, it hovers around 58 degrees while the fans spin at a modest 1600 RPM, making little to no noise. The Quicksilver 7800 XT has a total rated graphics power draw of 263 watts and needs 2 8-pin connectors, but in most games, it hovers under 250 watts. Gaming performance is exactly what you'd expect. Pick any game and you can easily run it at 1440p with a solid 60 FPS. And if the game is better optimized, then you can expect about 80 to 90 FPS, pure and simple. Games like Cyberpunk 2077, Hogwarts Legacy, A Plague Tale Requiem, and The Last of Us 2 net a result of between 80 to 90 FPS at 1440p with ultra quality settings. Black Myth Wukong and Starfield are 2 of the hardest games to run, and yet the 7800 XT manages to run them at 1440p with ultra settings at a solid 60 FPS. Now, I know what you're thinking. There's plenty more white graphics cards to choose from. Why bother with the Quicksilver? You're right in thinking this way, because there are the Asus TUF and Sapphire Pure variants of the 7800 XT that are also white. I'd say the XFX Quicksilver easily beats them due to 2 factors. First is the removable magnetic fans that most manufacturers haven't widely adopted into their graphics card designs. Second, the overall aesthetic of the XFX Quicksilver is objectively much better than both of those 2 cards. It completely embraces the white color and also has an identity of its own rather than simply being a white version of an already existing card. All in all, the XFX Quicksilver RX 7800 XT is the centerpiece that you need for an all-white themed PC. It looks great and has a clever detachable fan design that's hard to pass up when considering a GPU around the $500 mark. Number 1. Sapphire Nitro Plus Radeon RX 7800 XT. Taking a look at the Sapphire Nitro Plus RX 7800 XT, it's a massive 3-slot card with a triple fan configuration. The Nitro Plus cards have one of the smartest fan designs because they're easy to remove in case you need to clean or replace them. The entire PCB is cooled with a full-array aluminum vapor chamber and a massive RGB strip on the top of the card, which may be a tad flashy for some people. Taking a deeper look at the PCB and cooler itself, the card stays cool at sub-60 degrees Celsius temperatures. The PCB has fuses that protect the entire card in case of a power surge that could potentially destroy it. The card has 16GB of GDDR6 VRAM, which means that if it came down to needing more VRAM, the RTX 4070 with 12GB of VRAM would start to struggle and would require reducing settings to compensate. The RX 7800 XT is a very high-quality GPU, and it's hard to criticize Sapphire in any way for its excellent cooler. My only nitpick is that compared to the reference design by AMD, it's a significantly larger card, and instead of taking advantage of the size, Sapphire did not add more ports at the back. Even one more HDMI port would have been great. In conclusion, if you need one of the best value GPUs for gaming, then there's no better deal than the Radeon RX 7800 XT, and Sapphire's Nitro Plus is the best variant in the market for me. Thanks for staying till the end. Remember, you can check current prices in the description below.